Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to Executive Joy Radio with your host, Michael Anderson.
If you've never hoped for more hours in the day, again, this is not the segment for you. I'm looking for this. That's why I'm so excited to hear what Lia Tisdale, our special guest, has to tell us. So Lia is with Keller Williams. She's one of the top realtors both in San Diego and the country. And she's an evangelist. She's an evangelist for a book called The 1Thing, which has been #1 on Amazon, the Wall Street Journal, and all of the business sections. And we know there's a ton of business books out there. So this is a very exciting, very popular book. If we have time later, I'll tell you my experience and how I got connected with the book. But I really would like to hear from Lia. And Lia, why don't you just really quickly tell us about how you got involved as an evangelist for this book.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Michael, for having me on. It's really an honor to be talking to your listeners about this. So, I've had a long corporate career, very successful in corporate America, and then started my own business 12 years ago in real estate and hit a ceiling of achievement. I have been at the same level of achievement for the last 10 years. And that's a high level of achievement, and I'm very grateful for the business that I have. But the truth is that I couldn't break through that level. Mm. And there's no way to get any more 24 hours. There's only 24 hours in a day, and I had maxed out the use of that. And so I was running like a chicken with my head cut off. And this book came into my life, and I made a very different decision this year about my reading habits. I actually decided to read only 3 books all year long.
I love that because so many people say, I read 20 books this year, but I don't think they really retain it. And I love the fact that you don't just read 3, you read them over and over.
Absolutely. Correct. All year long, over and over. And one of the books that I selected because it's so on point for what I needed was The 1Thing.
So what is The 1Thing? Do we have to read it or can you tell us now?
I'll give you a Reader's Digest version for sure. So The 1Thing is asking ourselves this pivotal question. In each area of our lives, what's the one thing that we can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? So the idea there is that there is only 24 hours in a day. And that when you look at people, some people are much more successful than me. Some people are not as successful than me. Everybody only has 24 hours a day, 1,440 minutes a day. So why are some people successful and other people aren't? Isn't it what they do with their time that matters?
So I hear you. The first thing that you tell me is what is the one thing that I have to do is I have so many things to do.
Right. Don't we all? Don't we all?
I'm not the only one?
Oh, my goodness. I don't know. I can just speak for me. I look at my to-do list, and it's like 40 things long.
Yes.
I'm intimidated and depressed before I even get out of bed, because it's not possible.
Yes.
It's not possible. And what this book forced me to do was to look at that list and really own that some of it's really trivial. And some of it is critically important to pushing me towards my goals. Whether my goals, we're talking a business goal or a professional goal or a personal goal or relationship. My to-do lists, and I would bet yours are too, are filled with things that are not equal.
Good point.
Some things are important and some things are not. And when I first read the book, I got to tell you, I really challenged that. Because I said, hey, I'm already a filter, I already filter what goes on my to-do list.
So I only put important stuff on.
It doesn't get on there if it's not important, for sure. But the reality is this book really forced me to really look at it and own it. And there are things on there, making an appointment for a haircut. Now, do I need my haircut? Of course I need my haircut. But is that as important as preparing for that $1 million client that I've got in 2 days? It's not on the same par.
So that's a great example. So give us, so do you have one thing in your life or maybe you could, I'm starting to understand the theory, but if we talk more about like examples.
Sure, absolutely. So, so there are, and we're going to talk a lot in segment 3 about the one thing in specific, but the general concept is that there is the one thing for my life in general, and we can break it all the way down to similar to what you were talking about in segment 1. What's the one thing today? What's my most important thing today that I need to do? And in each area of our lives. So, when we look at you've heard of the principle, the 80-20 principle.
Yes.
Okay. So what that purports is that there are certain things that we do that generate more results than others. Okay. So I'll just give you a brief example. So back in the 30s, General Motors, hired, Joseph Duran to look at compensation and quality control throughout the General Motors company. And what he found, Michael, was that a very small handful of defects were being caused that a very small number of flaws in their production were causing the majority of their defects. Now imagine as a business owner that if you could actually identify a small number of flaws, that if you corrected it, the majority of your defects would vanish into thin air. What's the power in that? So the 80-20 principle says that a small amount of things that we do generate the majority of our results. So the one thing challenges us to look at everything that's on our plate and determine what is the most important, what is generating the majority of our results. For me, and for most salespeople, it's leads.
Mm-hmm.
It's leads. If I don't have leads, then it doesn't matter how phenomenal my service is. It doesn't matter what my quality control systems are. It doesn't matter what my marketing machine can do. If I have nobody to service, it doesn't matter.
And that doesn't mean all you do all day is get leads.
Oh, goodness, no. No, because you have to build an organization to service those leads.
Right. So tell me about like how you do the one thing, yet you manage the rest of your to-do list.
Perfect. So, the modern day business is just fraught with distractions and 1,000 different things to do. So what this book purports is to say, if you identify what your most important thing, in my case, leads, and time block 2 hours a day. If it's your most important thing, does it not require 2 hours? Actually, the book actually suggests 4 hours, but I'm not quite there yet. So right now I'm just doing 2. It suggests taking 2 hours and putting it in the morning when we have the most willpower, when we have the most focus, just as you were talking about in segment 1, and protecting it. So I built myself a little bunker. I've got in my office, I've got a big sign over my door that says, don't come in under any circumstances unless the building is burning down. I've told everyone else around me. I've told my clients, you will not reach me between 9 and 11 a.m. I turn off my phone. I turn off my email. I turn off my social media feed, and it's just me and my one thing. And I have 2 hours focused time on it. And then what's left, quite honestly, is just the thoughts in my brain. And that's no small thing. That's a whole other segment we could talk about is what happens.
So, and how has that changed your life?
Oh, my goodness. It has, first of all, I wasn't always focusing 2 hours a day on the thing that's the most important to drive my business. I could sometimes go a whole week. I was just focused on servicing all my clients because, of course, they've already entrusted me with their business. I always felt like that was the most important, right? But I have found that I can do more with less. I have to then pack in the other work into the rest of the day, and so I'm much more efficient with my time, and it's absolutely delivering dividends.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
So talk about some skills that the listeners can take home and utilize. So I think we understand the concept of it. We got some examples from your life, which is very helpful. So what can I do?
Yeah, so what I would say is that if you're running your own company and it's just you, right? And a lot of people are, I would make a list of everything that you're doing in your business and get quiet, make your list, and really look at which of those things are driving you towards your goals. If you've got a larger company, you might bring in, your board of directors. And as a company, if you say, hey, we want to double our business in the next 2 years, as a company, brainstorm the 100 ways in which you would do that, and then bring it down to the 10 ways. What are the top 10? Then what's the top 1? And then drive the entire organization towards that one thing.
It might be interesting to see if your managers know what their one thing is.
Isn't that interesting?
Or your employees know what their one thing is.
I just hired a new employee, started yesterday, and I had him read the book before he walked in the door. And I've identified for him what I think his one thing is, so that we're on the same page.
So you guys better, but it's great if you're not in alignment on that.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Then you got a problem.
It's fantastic.
Then you got a problem. Great. And we're going to have two more segments on this. And what's great is if this starting to resonate, and again, this has been life-changing. I'm in a business owner forum, and one of my forum mates, Michelle Krippolani, who runs a great app dev company, says, hey, I read this new book. And it's funny because I coached actually one of the Keller Williams franchise owners, and he gave me the book, and so it coincided at the same time, and it really has a great effect on my life as well. So, this book is really making waves in the business community. And what's great is on September 24th, 2014, so again, September 24th, 2014, from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m., there's an event. And the event's $99, but Lia was nice enough to give us some complimentary passes. So if you have an interest in that, go to bit.ly/the1thing-sd and enter in Executive Joy by the promo code. We'll be right back with Lia Tisdale.
Thank you for listening to WS Radio. Improve your business and your life with useful information from experts and thought leaders. WS Radio is radio with ROI.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on Vin Village Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect.
Hi, I'm Paul Downey, president of Senior Community Centers. Far too many seniors in San Diego go hungry each day. 2 in 5 don't have enough money for the basics. Senior Community Centers is the safety net keeping seniors healthy and independent. But we can't do it without you. Please make a generous donation to our Fill a Plate campaign. Our goal is simple. Fill the plates of 100,000 seniors with nutritious meals. Make a gift at servingseniors.org or call 619-487-0720.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Hi, I'm Linda Zweig. Listen to Del Mar Fairgrounds Radio every Thursday, 2 to 3 p.m. We host over 350 events every year at the Del Mar Fairgrounds, including the award-winning San Diego County Fair. That's Del Mar Fairgrounds Radio, 2 to 3 p.m. every Thursday at WSRadio.com.
In the military, things can change in an instant. Your personal life is just the same. Just like you protect our country, you want your family protected. That's why thousands of military members trust Navy Mutual Life Insurance. Navy Mutual is nonprofit, providing current and former Navy, Marine, and Coast Guard families with life insurance, no sales fees, and no military service restrictions. Protecting members on active duty and beyond. Call 1-800-628-6011. 800-628-6011. NavyMutual.org. Insuring those who serve.